That was me doing some deep breaths to get out of my ego and connect it into myself to be my truest, authentic version of me for this video. Also, guys, I am on FaceTime to my friend Kiva right now because I feel like whenever I'm videoing myself, like speaking on my phone, I'm like very comfortable, but whenever the phone is flipped and I'm doing like a YouTube video sort of thing, I feel like it's not as authentic. So Kiva's right behind the camera here, and I'm going to be speaking to her while speaking to you, because you know what actually came up in my ayahuasca trip was that all of you guys who follow me and support me and are here with me on this journey, you obviously see a little bit of yourselves in me, and that's why you sort of follow me and like you relate to me in some sort of way. So I thank you so much for that. I thank you for joining me today, and thank you for following me on this journey. I feel like we're friends, and I want to speak to you guys as if you are like we're really close friends, because we have this sort of connection in some sort of way. So yeah, welcome, thank you for joining me, and welcome back to my YouTube. This is the first video that I have literally done in I don't even know how long, probably like over a year, but I feel like speaking about this whole experience, I feel like I needed a longer form video to get everything I wanted to say out there. So welcome, and I'm going to bring you along on a little journey of my ayahuasca experience. So for anyone who doesn't know what ayahuasca is, I'm basically going to insert a wee clip here now of Spirit Science's video talking about ayahuasca and what it is, and just to give you a little bit of an insight to what it actually is, and given the right like scientific terms and things, because I feel like I might mess that up. So I'm going to insert it now, and if you do want to go and watch any of Spirit Science's videos, go and watch them, because it's all about spirituality. You'll literally learn so much. Like I literally be glued to their videos all the time because they're incredible. So I'd highly suggest go and watch their videos, but here's a wee snippet of what ayahuasca is, and hopefully you take something from it. So enjoy.
She stopped and looked outside like it was the first time she's ever seen the world. And then she told me, she said, I just purged out my cancer. And then after she went home, she ended up going to the doctor, and the cancer was gone.
Our story begins thousands of years ago, deep in the Amazon rainforest. The ancient legends say that the first instructions to make the ayahuasca brew came from the plant spirits themselves, who guided the Native American shamans to gather two particular plants together and combine them into a thick brew. Upon drinking this murky concoction, the shaman would then experience a transcendent perception of reality for the next 4 to 8 hours. A heightened level of sensitivity and connection to all things would overtake them, and they would have visions of geometric patterns, spirits, or supernatural formations that would unfold in the mind's eye. In this experience, they would even receive wisdom and guidance from beyond the veil. From here, the shaman would then use this heightened awareness to learn and gain knowledge of the world, and use this to guide their people so that the whole collective could thrive together in their little pocket of early civilization. To many in the world today, the story of ayahuasca's origin may seem rather far-fetched, because for the story to be true, we have to accept both that plants have souls and can communicate with people. Then again, there are over 80,000 species of plants in the Amazon rainforest alone. So how is it that these ancient people came upon such an unlikely combination to produce such a remarkable brew? Today, one of the most incredible mysteries in the world is the unique and mystical experience of ayahuasca. Growing to be known for its powerful role it can play in helping to overcome disease, addiction, depression, and anxiety, it's no wonder that in today's world, which is ever struggling with its varieties of sicknesses, so many are turning to shamanic plant medicines to see if it can be the answer they are looking for. But wait, hold up. We might be getting ahead of ourselves here. What exactly is this ayahuasca stuff anyways? Let's start with the basics. Ayahuasca is a brew, like a thick soupy drink created primarily from two plants, the leaves of the Psychotria viridis and the vine of the Banisteriopsis kappi. The Psychotria plant contains a large amount of DMT, a molecule produced by our brains in small amounts when we're dreaming, and in larger amounts both when we're born and when we die. This molecule is also found in nature, but generally has no effect on the human body when consumed. This is because our body breaks down the molecule with an enzyme called monoamine oxidase, commonly called an MAO. However, the vine of the kappi plant contains an MAO inhibitor, which allows the DMT of the Psychotria plant to pass through the stomach and into our bloodstream. When it reaches the brain, it causes an activation of the pineal gland, producing a state like lucid dreaming, except you don't have to be asleep in the slightest. This is, in a nutshell, the essential science behind what's happening with these ayahuasca journeys. However, the actual experience itself is something else entirely to behold. Ayahuasca is often described as a concentrated dose of nature, designed to help us reconnect with ourselves and the natural world. It illuminates one's consciousness, aiding any seeker to look deeper into themselves at the source of their trauma, disease, and pain, and helps them in healing these ailments from its source. From this state, we also then learn to perceive reality at deeper, more fundamental levels. And ayahuasca even helps in letting go of the personal identification with modern cultural and social systems in which so many of us have become trapped. It is for this reason that ayahuasca, along with its brother and sister plant medicines such as iboga and peyote, have become known today as sacred plant medicines, as well as great teacher plants. While many modern medicines today treat illnesses, depression, and the like on a symptom-based level, these master plants go deeper and allow anyone to dive to the root of their challenges and solve them for good. Illness, addiction, depression, and the like all fade away when our consciousness is illuminated, shining bright on the subconscious ego that is damaging us without even knowing it. What I personally find especially remarkable about ayahuasca is that once you experience it, the concept of the human soul, your own spirit, becomes very conceivable and directly experienceable. And it opens up a space of curiosity within you to try and understand it deeper. Of course, it's critical to note that this experience of ayahuasca only comes out when there is an intention to match it. For anyone who is familiar with the medicine today, it is well understood that these experiences are to be treated as sacred and with great reverence. It's very important to use it properly because ayahuasca opens us up to a dream state of connection with the world. And without the supportive energy of a shaman, it's very possible to become lost in the journey, which could even be damaging to the psyche. This is not to suggest that ayahuasca is inherently dangerous. No more than a hammer can be used to either build a house or smash a window. But truly, this medicine helps to teach us to understand that intention steers the reality you experience. Going into an ayahuasca journey with the intention of creating healing versus going in with the intention of just having a party will yield two very different experiences. Today, with thousands of testimonials of people having tried ayahuasca emerging all over the world, the results seem to demonstrate that this sacred brew can provide us with an experience of self-discovery, spiritual reconnection, and a healing of our hearts, provided that we use it in the right way.
Right, so that's what ayahuasca is and what it means to you. Like, how crazy is it that it cured that woman's cancer? Like, absolutely mental. Like, this is such powerful medicine that was blessed to all of us humans on this planet to take it and experience it so we can evolve and become the best versions of ourselves. Like, it is literally so incredible. Like, I can't even put it into words how amazing this whole thing is. So I'm going to give my whole experience with ayahuasca and how I got into it, how I started taking it, and my experience from a few nights ago here in Thailand. So I definitely heard about ayahuasca a couple of years ago, and I remember, you know what I actually remember clearly? In the Simpsons movie, Homer Simpson takes this crazy medicine with this woman with the big titties swinging about, and he trips out, but he gets like an epiphany, he knows exactly what he needs to do with his life, and he goes and does it. And I was like always like wondering, what is that thing that Homer Simpson took in that movie? And I remember like looking into it a wee bit and hearing the word ayahuasca. Then I heard people on podcasts and like spiritual like people who are like really know themselves well. We're talking about ayahuasca and things, and I had it in my head that I wanted to do it. Then when I went to Mexico in Tulum, well over 2 years ago, I remember saying, oh, this place must have ayahuasca because it's a really spiritual place. And I feel like it's just the sort of vibe that would have it. And then I literally remember saying it, and I went to my barber like the next day or something, and he started telling me about how his friend had done ayahuasca a couple of days ago and things. So I got the contact, and then I went and done it. And I'm not going to talk about those experiences, but what I will say is that that was the start of my spiritual journey, and it definitely showed me what I needed to see at that exact time. The main things that I took from those experiences was it showed me a different perspective of people that I loved, and it showed me a different perspective of myself and a different perspective on the world, and it really did change my perspective on my own personal life, and it made me build a better relationship with my family, with my friends, and with myself. One thing that I also really took from my first few ayahuasca experiences, these were all in Mexico, I'd done 4 sessions, was that I've got this like healing hands thing. It does sound about woo-woo, so anyone who's watching this video, please have an open mind, because some of the stuff that I say definitely will sound a bit woo-woo, a bit crazy, but I just experienced it all. So this is my own personal experience, and everyone who does ayahuasca is going to have different experiences and have different things to say, but this is my own personal experience, so I'm just going to share what happened to me. So yeah, in my first few experiences was dealing with relationships, dealing with a few different traumas that happened to me throughout my teenage years, and it also showed me that I had healing hands. And throughout the past 2 years, so after that there, I never touched ayahuasca again. I was traveling the world, went to loads of different places. I lived in Bali for a bit, I've been traveling around Asia, went to India, I was in Sydney there for a while, and over the past 2 years I've just been doing so much work on myself in terms of letting go of things that no longer serve me, working through past traumas, letting go of limited beliefs, trying to have a better relationship with my ego. I've done all this through like breath work, mushrooms, sound healings, yoga, ecstatic dances, therapy. There's so many different tools out there for me to be able to do this work, and this brings me up to now. I am 25, I'm 26 in August. I have been in Thailand now for just over a month and a half, and I'm living in Koh Phangan at the minute, and Koh Phangan is this absolutely beautiful little island in Thailand. It's very spiritual. Sorry, I'm just well, I'm doing the video, and in the video in the background I'm FaceTiming with my friend Kiva. She's basically just took off all her clothes and went to the toilet, and I just looked up and I was like, oh hello titties. That's so funny. Oh my god, I was not expecting that at all. Anyways, so this brings me up to this present moment, and people have this perception of Koh Phangan, this is like crazy party place because it's got the full moon party, but the full moon party is the whole other side of the island. It's got this whole other section to it which is really spiritual, really zen, all about health and fitness and well-being, and I'm just literally waking up every morning, I'm doing yoga, I'm meditating, just doing things that are good for me. I'm not partying at all, and I'm just like feeling incredible right now. Like, see, right now this is probably like the highest vibe that I maybe have ever been on in my entire life, and it's probably the ayahuasca probably definitely helped get me to this vibe. But let's get into the ayahuasca. So I remember before I left Sydney, I felt like I was being called to do ayahuasca again, so I started looking at ceremonies in places like Peru or Costa Rica or Brazil and different places like that, because it's very common in those places, and I never heard of it in Asia. Didn't know you could get it in Asia. And I remember then I was in Koh Tao a few weeks ago, and I basically bumped into this lovely lady who's a yoga teacher, and she was telling me about this upcoming ayahuasca ceremony in Koh Phangan. And I was like, oh my god, I need to do this. Like, I feel like I was meant to meet you at this exact moment because I'm meant to do ayahuasca again. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is a sign. So got the contact anyway, and then it brought me up to, ended up coming here. I moved here basically, so I'm going to be here now for a while. I got myself a nice little gaff and things. And yeah, I ended up going to the ceremony there on Wednesday night. So basically, I arrived to the ceremony, but before the ceremony, right, you have to detox. So in this detox, you basically aren't allowed to eat meat, you're not allowed to eat fish, you're not allowed to eat dairy products, you're not allowed to eat citrus fruits, you're not allowed to have sex, you are not allowed to drink alcohol or take drugs or anything like that. You have to like proper detox your body, basically only eating like fruits and vegetables and rice and pasta, and that's sort of it. And you have to be on the strict diet because you need to purify yourself before you go in and take the medicine, because I know people who've went to the ceremony and they didn't follow the right guidelines, they didn't follow the right diet, and the medicine just didn't work properly on them. So you have to really properly follow the strict diet to be able to feel the full effects of the medicine. So yeah, I basically went to the ceremony, and the one I went to was actually a full retreat, so it's for 6 days, which is 3 different ayahuasca ceremonies and loads of things in between. But at this moment in time, I just decided that I wanted to do the one ceremony. So I was like, right, I'm going to do that and see how I get on, and if I want to do it again, then I can. I rocked up anyway. There's a group of maybe like, I don't know how many people were there, maybe like 20 people, and you walk through this path. By the way, guys, I am in Koh Phangan, right, and I do not wear shoes anywhere. Like, I literally walk around barefoot everywhere I go. Like, I haven't worn shoes in weeks, And I remember that I went to the jungle place to do the ayahuasca ceremony, and you had to climb up this like mountain sort of thing into the jungle, but it was all like rocks and stones. I was so sore. I was like, why have I not worn my shoes? But anyway, it was fine. We got through it anyway. It's kind of like, what's the thing called, reflexology, where you get like a foot massage and they pin pressure and pinpoints of your feet. That's what it kind of was like on the stones on my feet. So anyway, then we go into the jungle. We get to the sort of campsite sort of thing, and I meet the shaman. He's a really nice guy. He's from Russia, and you know what's actually quite funny? Everyone in my retreat was like Russian or Ukrainian. Like there was not many English people. I think there might have been like 2 or 3 English people. But everyone was speaking like Russian the whole time, so I didn't really understand what most people were saying. But there was a translator, and she did translate the things they were saying whenever it needed to be said. But I was very happy. It's like an inward journey, so you don't really. They were obviously making friends and things. They were there for the whole retreat, but it's like an inward journey, so you're kind of just keeping yourself to yourself anyway. And I was just kind of meditating the whole time and just sort of focusing on me. And you sort of sit down, he sort of explains everything, you sort of do a bit of a few exercises and things. Then at the start we done this like sound exercise, so we were just like singing and dancing and just sort of like letting it go and loosen ourselves up and just becoming a little bit more free. And this is actually quite a lot of fun. I love singing, I love like expressing my voice, and I know for a fact using sound really helps vibrate out energy as well. So yeah, we were just letting loose, being free, singing a bit of songs, and yeah, it was just very good crack. Then there's someone comes around and gives you rapé. So rapé is like this sort of tobacco stuff. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's meant to be very good for like meditating and grounding yourself and sort of clearing your mind and just feeling like very connected and energized. So I remember whenever like she blew it up my nose, so she does this like sort of meditation thing with you, and then she blows it up your nose, and it is intense. It feels like you're fucking blowing your head off, like it's like whoa, and you have to really focus on your breath because it's like quite overwhelming, and you're just breathing through it, and you literally are just like and really trying to connect to your breath. But when she done it, I just felt so much energy through my whole body, and it really made me feel really, really connected and present, which is obviously good going into the ayahuasca ceremony. Then I remember sitting and I journaled before I went into it, just with my intentions and how I was feeling right now. And I remember sitting thinking like, fuck, I'm in a really good place in my life right now. Like I was just sitting there and I was like, you know what, I actually really, really have got to a point where I love my life. I really love myself. I've done so much work on myself, and I was going into it just feeling like a lot of love and a lot of like gratitude for my life. Like I was going into it in such a high vibe, whereas I remember every other time that I went into ayahuasca I was really nervous of all like the stuff that would have came up. And like, do not get me wrong, in this first few times lots of dark shit did come up for me to work on, and obviously throughout the past 2 years like I've worked on a lot of the dark shit that I needed to work on. And then when I went into the ceremony, so basically then the shaman, you go up to the shaman and everyone goes up one by one to drink the medicine, and you drink it, and do not get me wrong, this medicine is absolutely disgusting. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like dirt and gravel all like blended into like a cacao tea sort of thing. I don't really know, it's fucking grim. Like the taste is like, oh, but you just basically get the medicine. And what I always do whenever the shaman gives you the medicine, I look at the cup and I like sort of think to the cup like what my intention was. And this time I just went into it and I was like, you know what, ayahuasca, I love you. I thank you so much for everything that you've done for me, and I trust you to show me exactly what I need to see. And that's all I said. I just was like putting all my trust in her, and I was just gonna let it be and not resist anything, and just get into it with an open heart and an open mind. So I said that was my intention. I went back to my seat anyway, and everyone was just sort of waiting for the medicine then to kick in. So I was just waiting, lying down and meditating until the whole medicine started kicking in, and then something came over me and I was like, do breath work. And obviously whenever I was in Bali, I'd done a lot of breath work. I trained to become a breath work facilitator. So I was lying down and I just started doing this breath work. So I was like deep breathing into my belly, into my chest, and then out. So I was like right, so I started doing my breath work, and then it started kicking in, and I started feeling the energy with my hands and everything. And I remember the very first time I took it, it was like my ego was really resisting it, and my whole body was like going like this, you're crazy, and there was like spirits all around me like trying to help me to let go so I could like get into it. And it was just all about breathing. But this time obviously now I am a lot less resistant, and I just knew how to do the breathing to do it myself. So this time I just went straight into it because I was doing the breath work. And this is so fun, right? So basically the first So I took 2 cups this time, and the first section was the first cup and a whole like section of what happened, and whenever I took the second cup, it was like another section of the journey. So I'm going to talk about the first section of whenever I took the first cup. So whenever I took the first cup, right, I started doing the breath work, and then I started seeing all of these rainbow patterns and rainbow colors, and all I could see was like geometrical patterns, but they're all like multicolored and rainbows. Then I started seeing all these like spirits all around me like dancing, and they're all like rainbow colored, but like it wasn't like you could see what the actual shapes of the spirits were. You just knew they were like spiritual creatures, but they didn't have like, they weren't like, you couldn't pinpoint, oh, this is like a dog or a dinosaur or something. They were just like creatures that you've never seen before. Whenever it's said back to me, it sounds fucking crazy. Right, we're back. You know, actually, that's what kept happening to me whenever I was doing a mushroom retreat once. This tongue thing kept coming out, and I was like trying to express. It was like my throat chakra was trying to express this out, so it would like help me be able to speak my truth, and it was just like. This is crazy. Anyways. Yes, so I basically started seeing all these like rainbow multicolored geometrical patterns and the shapes and everything. I just felt like everyone was there like celebrating me, and then I started feeling like I wanted to move, so I got on my hands and knees like this, and I literally this is so funny, I literally was like in the exact moment, and I felt like I was some wild animal, and I was just like and I was like, this is so fucking weird, like what is happening? And all I could see was like the multicolored creatures all dancing around me, and it's just like a celebration of my life, and it was really like, it was fucking nuts, to be fair. I was like laughing at the same time, and my brain was trying to work out what was going on. I was trying to understand what was happening, but I literally couldn't understand what was going on, and there was something like overwhelmingly trying to tell me to just let it be, get out of your thoughts and just enjoy it and have fun and just be playful with it. So that's what I did. I just started playing and like celebrating, and what it really was trying to tell me was that I have done so much work on myself, and I have done a lot of work to let go of a lot of shit that was holding me down, and now I am at a point where I do love myself and I do love my life, and I am now here to really try and be connected and be present and just have fun and be playful and just go with the flow and live in the moment and just experience life the way life should be experienced. And it made me feel really, really, really proud of myself, and I did get a bit emotional. I was crying. I was like, oh, I love you, Cakes. I was kissing myself. Oh, so cute. Like I love this moment. It was just a very nice feeling to have. Because I was, if you have been following me for a while, you know that I was in a really, really, really dark place a number of years ago, and like we all have probably been in dark places, but I was just in a really, really, really horrible place where I just didn't even want to wake up in the morning sometimes. So yeah, very, very proud of myself for getting to this point. What is the crack, you beautiful people? I'm just editing this here right now, and I just wanted to add to that point, right? So obviously I have done a lot of work on myself to get to this point where I do have a lot of love for myself, and I do have a lot of love for my life, and my perspective on life has completely changed. However, we are only human riding through this human experience, and we are going to feel all the feels. So some days I may not have a lot of love for my life, some days I may feel absolutely like in the absolute pits, but that's just all part of the human experience. We'll have to ride this wave, and we'll have to feel all of the emotions for us to be able to go through these shitty situations so that we can then learn from them and grow from them as well. So yes, I do have a lot of love for my life, and yes, I do have a lot of love for myself, but do not get me wrong, I am going to go through some shit patches again in life. Like, we are only humans. So I just wanted to add to that. It's not all 100% every day like, oh, I love my life so much, because that is not the reality of it. The reality is we are human going through human experience, and we are going to feel all of the feels. But what I do have is I have the knowledge and the tools that I know for whenever I am in those maybe dark periods of my life. I know that everything's going to be okay. I know that I'm going to come through the other side, and I know that I'm going to have amazing, incredible days once again. Like, I have that full faith that everything is going to work out how it's meant to. So whenever I am going through those shitty places and shitty days, that I just know that it's all going to be okay in the end. So yeah. And there was a point I remember I had to walk down to go to the toilet, and I was kind of at the back of the campsite, and I had to walk down between all the people and then down through the jungle bit down to where the toilet was. And I'm going to insert a clip of the toilet because it was literally a hole in the ground. And if you know ayahuasca, basically, if you take ayahuasca, you're going to be purging, and purging is either being sick or vomiting. So you get a bucket to be sick in. And don't let this put you off. If you want to do ayahuasca, but the purging part's the bit that's putting you off, do not let that put you off, because that's part of the experience, and it is kind of beautiful because you're really vomiting out, like purging out all of the negative shit, all of the toxic energy, all of anything that's really inside of you that's been like brewing up. You're being sick and you're letting it all go. Like if you watch that video from Spirit Science, the woman literally said she vomited out her cancer. Like that's how powerful it is. So don't let the purging bit put you off. But for some reason, whenever I take ayahuasca, I always need a shit. And I had to go, I was putting it off for ages, and I was like, no, if I do not go down to this toilet, I'm going to shit my pants on this bed. And I was wearing my trousers, so I was like, right, I need to fucking go down here. It was actually just, I was putting it off for so long, I was like, no, I need to go. So I was walking down, right? Every single time I take plant medicine, whether it's mushrooms or ayahuasca, I've got this ability where I can see the spirits of the plants. So like I can see all the spirits of like the trees and the flowers and the grass and the rocks, and it's just such an amazing, beautiful thing to see. And it's made me really have a lot more appreciation for Mother Earth and our planet, and like just our nature. Do you know what I mean? Like even every single living thing on this planet has a soul or a spirit, and it just gives you a lot, makes me have a lot more appreciation. But what was happening to me was I was walking down to the toilet in the pitch black, and I was walking over the top of other people, but I couldn't work out if it was a person or if it was a spirit of a plant that I was walking on top of. And I was breathing really like really trying to focus on where I was walking, because I was like, I can't stand on a fucking other person. So then I walked down to the toilet, and I remember so clearly there was this massive rock, and I put my hand on the rock, right? And next thing, all this energy from the rock started going through my whole entire body, and I was like vibrating. It was as if I was getting charged up from the energy of this rock. It was so intense. I was like, whoa, this is so fucking cool that all of this energy just goes through my arm into my body from this rock. I was like, what is actually happening right now? This is fucking crazy. Yeah, I got to the toilet anyway, and because I was wearing white trousers, I stripped off, and this was in the dark, right? Stripped off, and I was hovering above this hole in the ground, like absolutely disgusting. And I was tripping balls as well. Like I was looking around me, and everything was going all wavy, and like I could see the spirits of the plants and everything, and I was just like, what the fuck is actually happening right now? And I was squatting down, trying so hard, but I couldn't stop laughing because it was the funniest thing ever. I was like, what is my life? I'm in the middle of the jungle, naked, tripping balls, squatting over a hole to take a shit, because if I don't, I'm gonna shit myself. Like it was actually hectic. But I eventually did poo, and then I went back up to the campsite, right? When I went back up, this is when it was time for the second cup. And this time I took the second cup, same intention. I was just like, thank you so much for this beautiful evening. Thank you for all the fun we're having. And yeah, I trust you to show me exactly what I need to see. Then I drank the second cup, went back, and this time was different. I could feel the energy was shifting, and I was lying down, and then I started getting all of these random thoughts going through my head, and I was just like thought, and it was as if the whole trip had stopped. And I was like, what's going on right now? And then I was just like sitting there, and I was just like trying to breathe. Then basically at the ceremony as well, so there's like the main shaman, but then he has like maybe like 4 helpers who go around. They work at every ceremony, and they know exactly how to help people through it. They know exactly what to say, exactly to help you through it. And I was laying down, and I was getting all these thoughts, and everything was like doing my head in. So I was getting really fidgety, and I was just like tapping things. I was like tapping my head and stuff. And one of the helpers obviously seen that I was like maybe struggling a little bit, and she came up to me and was just like, breathe, really focus on your third eye, your pineal gland, really focus on it, and breathe and focus on your breath, and just let it go, and you might get some answers. So I kept trying to do that, and I started doing it, and I realized it was my ego distracting me. And basically, actually, I wrote it all down afterwards, so as well, right? So I was coming home from the ayahuasca ceremony, right? And I never really smoked weed. Like, I do really enjoy weed. It has helped me grow a lot spiritually. It has helped me learn a lot about myself, and it's helped me grow as a person. But what it does do is it makes me really lazy and really unproductive, so I never really do it. But coming home from the ayahuasca ceremony, something was telling me inside my body to go and get a joint, go and smoke weed. Because after the ceremony, to be fair, after I was leaving, I was like, last night I felt like I learned so much, I got so many answers, but everything was like mumble jumble. I can't really make sense of what happened, and it was just all a bit of a blur. But then I smoked the joint, and it was as if the ayahuasca was still in my system, and I was stoned with the ayahuasca in my system, and everything was just flowing through me, as if it was like all of the answers that I had, or everything that I had learned was just like flowing through me. So I've actually written out a few things that I basically wanted to say about what had happened. I basically just remember lying there, and I was just really trying to focus on my breath, and my ego was coming in so hard. And the more I focused on my breath, the more in depth I got into myself, the stronger and the more powerful the ego was to try and distract me. And I was breathing and breathing and breathing, and the ego would throw in random thoughts such as like how much I don't like what Andrew Tate says, and then I would go in a spiral thinking about Andrew Tate, all of the horrible things he said, then seeing all of the people that I know supporting him, not all of the people I know supporting him, random people that I know who supports him, and I started going in a spiral about my dislike towards Andrew Tate, and I was like, oh my god, that's my ego trying to distract me, trying to trick me from actually connecting to myself, trying to trick me from trying to distract me from actually getting the answers that I need. So I was like, right, back to the breath. So I was breathing again. Then I started thinking about this other person who was really annoying me, and I was just like, started going in a spiral thinking about this person. I was like, fuck, no, back to the breath. This is the ego trying to distract you from getting the truth, from getting the answers. So I kept going further and further. Then I got to a point and I was getting so into myself and so connected. And whenever I was getting into myself and getting connected and really focusing on the breath, that's when I could see all like the multicolored patterns and the shapes and the trip, and everything was so energetic through my whole body. Like I felt the energy through my whole body when I was connected to the breath. But once ego came in again, it would put me off, and the whole, like, everything would just go away, and we would feel like I was sober in a sense. And I was lying there and I got so close to the inside. Then I felt insects crawling all over my body, and I was just breathing. I was like, no, this is the fucking ego trying to distract you once again. And then what it made me realize is that the ego distracts us in everyday life from getting to the truth, from getting to the fucking source of who you are. And then it all just clicked for me. Everything just clicked for me. It was like, showed me, this is so hard to explain, right? Whenever I'm trying to explain this to anyone, I can't fucking explain it into words, because it was as if I had like an epiphany of what life is about and what I need to do to get to become the best version of myself, to get to become to this person that creates a life of my dreams, that helps other people, that helps myself, and just spreads love and joy and gratitude. But I remember I got to this point with the breath. I'd fought off the ego. Oh, I also want to quickly add to that there point as well, where I said I fought off the ego. So yes, I fought it off in that exact second, and ayahuasca was able to teach me how to fight it off, to really connect to your breath, connect to your heart, to get the answers that you need, and you'll fight it off in that exact second. But that does not mean it's gone for fucking ever. My ego is still very, very strong right now, and it's just going to be a continuous work in progress for the rest of my life, focusing on my breath every single day and trying to be aware of those egoistic thoughts that come into your head, to try and interrupt them and to try and prevent them, or like let them go, or whatever it may be. But my ego is still definitely very, very strong. But that ayahuasca sort of taught me and showed me that it is possible to get rid of it, or silence it for that minute. Fucking oh my god, to silence it for that split second and just listen to yourself and listen to your heart. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. And you know, whenever people say listen to your heart, like, I always thought that meant like do what you want to do, like follow your heart, like do the things that you want to do. But I've never actually heard my heart before. And whenever I got that answer of whatever I just explained, I can't fucking explain it to words what I mean by what I need to know about life. Like, I feel like I know the truth, but I can't explain it. It's so hard to fucking explain. But anyway, I basically got this like answer. It was like a yes from my heart, and I felt it so intensely coming from my heart. And I was like, wow, this is the first time in my life I've actually been able to hear my heart. So I now know what I need to do. I just need to really, really breathe, and my heart will give me the answers that I need to go on the right path that I need to go on. But it's just all about really focusing on your breath, powering through and getting out of the ego. So basically what it showed me was that my ego is what's holding me back in life. And the ego comes in everyday life by distracting me through my phone, my addiction to my phone, my fear of judgment, caring what other people think about me, whether it's jealousy or resentment or comparison to others, or food or music or media or whatever it may be. Any of these negative things in life that's holding us back, that is the ego distracting us from connecting to our truest selves. And the only way that we are going to get to our truest selves is by doing the work to let go of all of this shit that's inside of us, that's holding us back, the systems that have been put in place to give us set beliefs that are trying to limit us, to trying to hold us back from being our best version, our authentic selves. Like, these systems are in place because the ego has created these systems by the people in the higher power. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. Right, basically, I think there's a part of it that I learned through ayahuasca that I don't actually think I'm going to talk about on YouTube, because I feel like people in power will not like the stuff that I have to say, and I feel like social media is a place where you cannot say those sort of things. So I'm going to keep that bit to myself. But you can connect to your higher self, you can connect to your truth, and you can dissolve out the noise of the ego, dissolve out all of the distractions that it puts in place if you start doing the work and breathing. The breath is the most powerful tool that we have to ourselves. Like, by breathing, you can really focus on the breath, connect to your heart, connect to your third eye chakra, get all the answers that you need, and dissolve this noise and dissolve this distraction and dissolve these limitations that we have on ourselves. The more people out there that connects to their breath, connects to the third eye, connects to their heart, the better the world is going to be, and the more people that are going to have escaped the matrix, in a sense. Another thing that came up is I've got a really bad leg at the minute. I've injured it somehow, and with my healing hands, I remember when I focused on the breath, my hands automatically went to my knee, and I was just breathing through it, and I just felt really intense energy going through my whole body, and I was into my arms, and I could feel myself going out of breath because all of my energy was going from my hands into my leg to heal my own leg. And it is still a bit sore, but it has definitely gotten noticeably a little bit better. So yeah, the healing hands thing is incredible, and I definitely really want to start learning more about it and go in and hopefully meeting someone that can actually teach me how to do it properly. But I feel like it's all I know myself. I know the answers myself, you know what I mean? I wrote down here, the ego is the cause for our procrastinations, our self-doubt, our jealousy, our anxiety, our insecurity, and so much more. There are systems in place to keep as many people in these lower vibrations as possible. So we have to, as a community, both of us, me right here, you watching this video, we have to try as best we can to do the work on ourselves. Then we can also then help other people to get out of these lower vibrational states and become on a high vibration. And high vibrational things is like love and joy and gratitude and happiness and all of those lovely jubbly feelings that we get. What it did show me was that I really want to show up on social media as like my really authentic self, and I feel like I am that, but I could be so much more myself and like a bit more like blah, and just like my more extravagant self. And I feel like there has been a block holding up, there's been a wall up for such a long time, and I have, even watching back on my old videos, actually I've seen that I have put the wall down so much, but there's still that niggling little voice in my head that I still worry the very odd time about what other people think of me. Not everyone, a majority of the time I don't give a shit. Like, obviously if you do social media, you don't really give a shit about what most people have to say, but there is still that niggling wee voice that's coming in, and that's my ego, and that is my ego the whole time, and that's what I've been fighting past. Like today, for example, I put up a video of me dancing very weirdly. My belly was out, and I'd be quite insecure about my belly, but I was like, no, that's my ego making me insecure about that. You're living a healthy lifestyle, like you're totally fine. So I was just like, you know what, fuck it, I put it up. And that's like me fighting against my ego once more, just be like, you know what, fuck you, ego, I'm gonna do what I want, I am me, I love me. So a really powerful message that came up the whole way through the ceremony was just let it be. You don't have to understand everything, just be in this exact moment right now. Nothing really matters. So yeah, just let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. Baby, there's a reason, let it be. Yeah, I wrote down, I can see the spirits of the plants, I have a gift, I can also gain energy from the land and from space. So yeah, I feel like I can really gain energy from like the moon and the stars and things. Oh, another thing, this is really interesting. So I remember my very first time taking ayahuasca, I really formed like a relationship with my crystal, and I literally, I connected with my crystal somehow. Before I done ayahuasca the first time, I didn't really fully believe in the energy of crystals, and then I actually got a relationship with my crystal, and I was in love with my crystal, and I missed that wee crystal so much. Like I lost her, and I still feel like I've lost like a friend because I lost this crystal. But then this ceremony, I had 2 new wee crystals with me, and I built a relationship, and I had like a full on, like the energy going from the crystal into my heart. You could feel the energy between the two. And I was like, oh my god, this is me now connecting with my crystal. So yeah, I keep my little baby right here, and it's gonna connect to her. So yeah, during the ceremony, I just started thinking about my life and what I wanted to do, and I think that I just really want to keep working on my breath, really keep meditating every single day, really distance myself from my phone, and really trying to be aware of my thoughts from when I'm on my phone, because my phone addiction and the scrolling is something that's really holding me back, and I know for a fact it is, and I have been really aware of every single thought that I have been having since being on my phone recently. So for example, I would just end up in a loop of scrolling through TikTok, Instagram, whatever, just scrolling, looking to view my story, and then I'm like, why am I looking at view my story? Why do I care? Then I would look at like the amount of people watching it, and then I'd be like, this is my ego. Like, this is irrelevant, like I don't need to worry about this. Then I started thinking about the things that people might be saying who was watching my story, and it was just like in a spiral. I was like, oh my god, no, this is my ego using these things to distract me, and I'm just in this habit loop of going through my phone and going on this cycle that's actually distracting me from being in the now and being present and being myself. So I've just become a lot more aware of it, and I'm a lot more cautious of being on my phone like that. Oh, and then I basically started thinking about what I want to do with my life. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay in Copenhagen for another month, and then I'm going to go into a silent retreat, so 10-day Vipassana, so literally in silence from 4 o'clock in the morning until 10 p.m. at night, just meditating all day. And with that, I'm just going to be focusing on my breath, really trying to like work on my ego, and I think that's going to be really challenging but so rewarding. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and then I think I'm going to go to Africa. So yeah, I think I'm going to go to Africa for a bit. So that's my plan of action, and that all came to me during Aya. And after Aya, the past couple of days have been really, really nice. I have been on such a high vibration. My dreams have been very informative. Like I woke up the other morning and my dream basically said something along the lines of, you have the power. Like I woke, you know when you wake up from a nightmare, you literally shoot up. I woke up from like a dream and shot up, and the first thing that I thought of was, like it was as if I had it in the dream, was you have the power to change your life and create the life of your dreams. All you have to do is master the breath. So I was like, right, I need to fucking really, really, really work hard on mastering the breath, become a little meditation guru. Okay, I completely forgot to answer your Instagram questions, so I'm gonna go through them now and answer them quickly. Thank you so much for all of your questions. So where are you scared? So I remember the very, very, very first time I was kind of scared, yes, because you're obviously doing something you've never done before, you're gonna be a little bit scared, but being scared is completely normal. Like I wouldn't really worry too much about it. Going into this one, I think because I was in such a high vibe, I wasn't afraid really. I think I was a little bit nervous, but the fear, there wasn't that much fear, to be honest. However, if you're gonna have fear, do not worry, because that's totally normal, for sure. Do you have control of your body, or are you out of it? Yes, you're fully aware of what is going on. So for me personally, there only has ever been one occasion on my very first time where I think I was a bit like, whoo, like a bit like out of it. But majority of the time, you are fully aware of everything that's happening around you, and fully aware of what's going on. So I'd say you're more in control, yeah. How long does the effects of ayahuasca last? So once it's in your system, I think it could stay in your system for a while, but the actual trip itself is maybe like 5 hours. But you're not like tripping balls for like 5 hours, you're just like, I don't really know, to be honest. The time is not a real thing in the ceremony. Have you tried Cambo? What would you recommend do first? A few places in Ireland doing retreats considering it. I've only done Cambo once, and for me, I didn't enjoy the experience at all. So everyone's different. Everyone has different things that works well for them. So I don't really like Cambo. However, I do love ayahuasca. I love DMT. I love mushrooms, and they're all psychedelics as well. Cambo's not a psychedelic. It is a type of plant medicine, but it's not a psychedelic. They're two totally different things for me anyway. Is there a getting ready process? Yes, I've already talked about it in the video. You have to properly detox before you do the ceremony. How different is it to taking mushrooms? It's a lot more intense than mushrooms for sure. Mushrooms you can definitely take by yourself in a safe space. I use mushrooms as therapy, so I would take mushrooms in a safe space by myself. I put on some spiritual music, I would meditate, I would set light incense, light candles, and do a nice wee safe space for myself using mushrooms. But you could not take ayahuasca on your own, not a chance, it's not safe, definitely don't do it on your own. I don't even know how you get it on your own, but definitely mushrooms is very different than ayahuasca in terms of intensity. However, you do get benefits from both for sure. So I'll be in Copenhagen in a few weeks. I would love to know who you did it with. Would you recommend? I would 100% recommend. It was absolutely incredible. They usually do it like once every month nearly they do a ceremony or a retreat. I'll put the link for the website in the description below. What was your first experience like? So I will actually do another video on my first experience if you want me to. Let me know in the comments if you want to talk about my first experience in detail, if I can remember it. But the biggest thing that I took from my first experience was that I definitely worked through a lot of my teenage trauma, and then I seen my parents in a different perspective. So I think growing up as a gay lad from a small place, and I think my parents definitely used to have a bit of a small mind. Well, my mum did anyway, she won't mind me saying that because she's definitely grown a lot herself in the past few years. And I think I really was living 2 different lives from my family and myself, and I was like, we had like a normal relationship, but we weren't like close, if you know what I mean. And the ayahuasca the first time made me see my mum and dad and my whole family from a completely different perspective, a perspective that I didn't even know I could have. And I was just like, oh my god, they're just like 2 humans trying to rest, and they love me and they've done everything they can for me, and I just want to have a better relationship with them, and now I literally am the closest ever with my mum and dad. Like I speak to them every single day, tell them everything, and we just have an incredibly beautiful relationship, and it's all because of the first experience with ayahuasca, which is one of my favorite things ever. Was there anything you wished you knew before your first experience? Have no expectations. Like if you're listening to me talk about my experience, go in yourself with no expectations. Don't think that you're going to get this massive eureka moment or something crazy is going to happen. Don't think that you're going to have a bad experience. Don't have any expectations at all. Go in with it with an open mind and just trust and just let it be, because expectations could ruin your whole experience for sure. I think my second experience wasn't the best because I had some expectations based off my first experience. How much did it cost? It cost 11,000 baht for one ceremony. Cannot remember how much that is in pounds. Is that like £250? Around £250. I can't really remember how much exactly. Is it like being high? Define high. You're definitely on a high vibration for sure. Don't know if it's definitely not the same as being stoned high. Definitely not. So I only did one session this time around. I think again I might do a retreat, but it really just depends. If you are doing it for the first time, I could suggest maybe doing the retreat. You'll get a lot from it, but if you only want to do one session, you do one session. One session has worked fine for me. Can you do this if you're afraid of what visions you will see? Really want to do it? Do it. If you want to do it, do it. It's so incredible. And the people there will look after you. So if you are afraid of anything that's happening, there's people there that know exactly what to do to make you feel safe and make you feel at ease. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Do you think this is something you want to do every year to learn more about yourself? For sure. I will take ayahuasca for the rest of my life if I get the opportunity to, because this is just powerful stuff and gives you the truth and the answers that you need to become a better version of yourself and to become a better human for the planet. So I will for sure be doing it as often as I can. Probably not like every day, but like maybe every few months or something. If I'm nearby or there's someone close to me, I will 100% do it. Can you describe visions? They're like dreams are more realistic compared to shrooms, LSD. It's definitely more intense than shrooms and LSD. I have had really intense shrooms experiences, but I would say it's more intense than them. You don't feel like you're in a dream, you know you're fully awake, you can feel like you're fully awake. It's kind of like lucid dreaming, but in real life. And there's like, I don't know how to explain the visions. I feel like I remember, it's like peripheral vision. Like I feel like from the side of my eyes, it's so clear of all these like creatures and spirits and patterns, and I don't know, it's just, I can't explain it. It's a thing you can't explain. You just have to experience it yourself to know. Does anyone have a bad trip? There's no such thing as a bad trip. If you're having a bad trip, it's medicine bringing up the dark stuff that's inside of you that's causing this bad trip, or your ego is fighting against it really, really hard. But like I said, there will be people there, shamans and people who know exactly what they're doing to make you feel safe and at ease, and to stop you from going further into this so-called bad trip. I suppose you've visited for spirituality. Ooh, good question. I definitely love Copenhagen, where I am now. India is also very good, Bali is also very good, and Mexico is also very good. They're the biggest spiritual places that I've been so far, for sure. The rest of the questions are kind of similar to the ones I've answered, so yeah, I hope you did get something from that. I definitely did waffle on. I recorded it and I was like 50 minutes. I was like, what the hell, I need to cut this down, but yeah. Right lads, I think that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. I don't really know if I got it across clearly what I was trying to say. I feel like I just really waffled and mumbled on, and I don't really know what I said, but I hope you took something from it. I hope it gives you a little bit of an insight to my experience. If you've seen that Spirit Science video, you can literally see that it is so hard to explain your ayahuasca experience. Like there was a quote there that says something like, you can't put it into words, and that's exactly what you can't do. Like I literally can't explain properly what happened to me and what I experienced, because I was just letting it be and I didn't really understand a lot of it. I just knew that it was healing my body. Well, that's actually something that came up. I remember feeling my whole body being scanned by this energy. It was as if it was like going through my whole body to see if there's anything needed healed. So that was really nice. But yeah, there's so much that happened. I hope I shared a little bit of my experience that you can understand and get a little bit of an insight, and I hope you enjoyed. Do not forget to hit the wee follow button. I don't really use YouTube that much, to be fair, but if you are here, you must have came from my other social media. So yeah, thanks again for supporting me, following me along my journey, and I love you so much, and I hope together me and you can make the world a better place by sharing love and sharing gratitude and sharing joy and sharing wisdom. So yeah, I love you lots, and if you have any questions at all, my DMs are always open. So yeah, love yous, and I'll see you soon. Bye.